Hey, we welcome you to episode 19 of Battin and Chattin on the Eastern Observer. Alongside Brandon Natale, I'm Denis Tuohy. Before we get started, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube to be kept in the loop on everything Eastern Observer, and most importantly, Battin and Chattin. Our show can be found on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts can be found. Our show is presented to you by Black Cats NYC. Be sure to download their newest hit single, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, which can be found wherever music is found. Spotify, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, satellite radio, and of course, many others. So, Brandon, it has been a wild week in baseball. We have managerial firings, playoffs, of course, Billy Epler resigning as the general manager of the New York Mets following an MLB investigation for, I guess, injured list tampering, or
is that
I'm
the?
not sure what the wording is. That's
I don't
the
think
report.
that's the reason.
Oh,
I've
that's
heard. Well, one of the reasons I feel like is because they wanted to, give David Stearns a clean slate with the Mets. So it was more of him resigning. But I guess if reports now, I mean, that's what I heard. I didn't know that that was the main reason why.
This
I'm pretty
was
sure.
Earlier in the afternoon. Jeff Passan said sources resigned as Mets GM amid Epler resigned as Mets GM amid MLB investigation due to some kind of chicanery with the injured list. But we'll get into that later on.
Yeah.
Let's start on a good note. The freaking postseason is here, bro. I mean, it's crazy. It's finally here. Long season. Long season.
Finally, at last. I feel like the season was like 8 seasons combined until
right. And to see the Phils, who I covered all season long for the Eastern Observer, wrote articles, columns about.
Same with the Mets.
The whole time to see my guys in the playoffs, and not just in the playoffs, in the second round. The Phils made a fan out of me. Am I mad that they beat my fish? They filleted my fish? Yes. Yes, I'm very sad. The
I'm
Marlins
sad too
are
because
my little brother team.
I was rooting for the Marlins. I mean, I said it. We all said it last week. We thought we didn't think they were going to play the Phillies.
We didn't.
So we get that pass in a way.
We do.
But that was quick. They said that every time that that the Marlins made it to the playoffs, they won the World Series in the franchise history. Well, now they're 2 out of 3.
2 out of 4. 2020 they made it.
My bad. I forgot to make it.
2020 they put a beating on the Cubs. Then we're dismissed by the Braves. Oh well, that was then. This is now.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I guess we'll go in chronological order. Why not, right? So the 5th seeded Texas Rangers swept the 4th seeded Tampa Bay Rays at the Tropicana Field in Tampa Bay, outscoring the 99-win Rays 11 runs to 1, with Jordan Montgomery getting the win in Game 1 and Nathan Eovaldi winning in Game 2. Tyler Glasnow and Zach Eflin got the losses in Games 1 and 2, respectively. Of course, two of the most prevalent storylines coming out of this one were the Rays' sloppy play, having 5 errors across the 2 games, with even more bad plays that were not counted as errors. Their 3 errors in the first 3 innings of Game 1 was the first time a team did that in the playoffs since the 1958 Braves did it in the World Series against the New York Yankees.
Wow.
And something that's basically always a story with the Tampa Bay Rays. The second story was the lack of fans, with capacity supposedly at only about 80% for both games. And I do stress supposedly because it was looking like a ghost town. It was not easy on the eyes, but whatever. And as for the winning team, the Rangers' young studs showed up big. Third baseman Josh Jung and left fielder Evan Carter played extremely well, both rookies, hitting a combined 6 for 12 with 4 RBIs, 3 walks, hitting out of the 8 and 9 spots in the lineup, respectively. The starting pitching performed very well, with Montgomery and Eovaldi combining for 13.2 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts, giving up 12 hits, 0 walks, and, of course, just the 1 run. Buddy, your thoughts about this series?
Well, it's definitely interesting to see from Tampa Bay how, Yeah, not that many. I mean, it's a weird baseball town. I can see why when they announced the new stadium, the renovations, or for the new stadium, how it's only under like what 30,000 seats. Am I correct?
I'm not sure offhand.
Right, I'll look that up later. But either way, I mean, just I think they said it was 19,000 fans over there, and I think they said that was the lowest in a long time. You know, in a very long time. So,
Since
um,
1919, not
so,
counting the
yeah,
COVID seasons, of course.
right, yeah, since 1919, and that's crazy. It's crazy how the start they went in the beginning of the year to ultimately. It's kind of like reminds me of the Mets last year. The Mets started off great. Thought they had the division in their hands. They fumbled it, and then they lost in the wild card. It's kind of what happened a little bit to the Rays. Um, but kudos to the Rangers because they invested a lot in the offseason, whether it's signing DeGrom or having Evaldi on the team, all the other players. So I mean, kudos to Jordan Montgomery because I remember watching him on the Yankees and him going over to St. Louis. Great pitcher, phenomenal pitcher. So I think it's cool to see him helping the Rangers. Game one, and obviously Evaldi in game two. So overall, good job to the Rangers because it's lots riding on obviously the GM Chris Young put together the Rangers. So this was definitely if they would have lost this wild card series, I would have liked to seen how the media would have been because it would have been really interesting. Um, kudos to the young studs, Josh Hung and Evan Carter. Um, and then obviously yeah, I mean so. I'd like to see how Tampa Bay could come back and see how they come back next season. I know they had a great year. Just obviously, like I always say, it just wasn't the year. Like out for the Mets and the Yankees. Top three in payrolls spending. But hey, at the end of the day, it just wasn't a year. You know. But yeah, like I said, I'd like to see how the Rangers fare up. I know the Rangers face next week. They now face Baltimore, the number one seed in the AL. So that should be a fun, interesting series. If I had to say, man, that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as a baseball fan, and listen, it's easy for me to turn around as a Yankee fan who sees all of the, a lot of the Rays games and whatnot, and how they just always seem to have the Yankees number. It's easy. It could be easy for me to just kind of sit with sour grapes and be like, I hate the Rays or whatever. As a baseball fan, I'm sick of seeing them in the playoffs
Mm, really?
because dude, how their offense has failed them in the playoffs for how long? Dude, like
I tell you,
they threw away game one. They threw it away, literally. Error after error. Tyler Glass now, what you expect from Tyler Glass now. He had like a decent game. Like if you just look at the stats, but listen, sometimes it comes down to the eye test as well. Jesus, the Bears won by 20. Yikes.
yeah.
Excuse me. Uh, Sometimes you kind of just need the eye test to kind of tell the full story. Dude, it was like, how many wild pitches did the guy throw? I mean, it looked like their catcher, who's it, Patino? What's this guy's last name again? I always forget it. Pinto. Pinto is
Pinto.
how it's
Okay.
pronounced.
Pinto.
Dude, he looked like freaking Marty Brodeur, Patrick Waugh back there. He had to stop everything. It was insane. So Glass now 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, and here we go, 5 walks. They had 4 errors in the game, buddy. They had four in
Mm.
one game. But like I said, one in the first, one in the second, one in the third. The first time that's happened since 1958 in the playoffs. Buddy,
Wow.
that's
No, that says a lot.
65. That's 65 years. Like, I'm sorry. And listen, people are going to say, well, they're hurt. Well, Wander Franco is dealing with legal issues. Listen, it's like I wrote about with the Phoenix Suns for the Eastern Observer. When Chris Paul got hurt, I didn't use it as an excuse. If an injury prone player gets hurt, I'm not using it as an excuse. If your entire team is always injury prone, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about it.
Yeah.
If it's fluke injuries, it's fluke injuries. But if you're running your pitchers into the ground, you're running them into the ground. I don't know what it is.
Mm.
It's the only thing I could think of. We could go back years. James Shields, Scott Kazmir, Chris Archer. How many guys have gotten hurt then? And
Yeah.
now McClanahan, Glasnow. I'm sorry, it's in the guy's name. He's always hurt. He seems like a good guy. He's a very good pitcher, very talented. Dude's always hurt. You know, like
That's right, you know?
it is a tough watch. It is a tough watch with them. And I'm sick and tired of Randy Arozarena being their only offensive production whatsoever.
Yeah, that's not
Especially
good.
in this series. He looked like he was the only one who knew they were playing in a freaking postseason game. Dog, I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, but dude, they had 6 hits. 6 hits in one game. Arozarena had 2 of them. Like, bro, I'm sorry, but come on. I don't want to say, you know, oh, get this guy some. This is just game 1 now. I don't want to say, oh, they got to get this guy help or something. Listen, they lost game 2, 7-1. I'm not even gonna. If you want to get into game 2, we could get into game 2. They were boat raced. The game was over before it even began. But again, he had another hit in game 2. He went 1 for 4. And actually, the Rays hit. They just couldn't score. To that with the Blue Jays later on. And they finally snapped their games or innings, something like that, without a hit, excuse me. The Rays finally scored, and they lost 7-1. Thanks for playing. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. See you next year.
See you next year. Listen, I understand they do the whole analytic thing and buying wins in the championship season, regular season. I don't know what I just said. Getting wins in the regular season and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at the Phillies and I'm like, yeah, you need a Bryce Harper. You need a Nick Castellanos. These guys get paid $25, $30 million for a reason. They're freaking good.
Yeah.
They're good. You need professional hitters. Like at some point, enough with the gimmicks. Enough. They're trying so hard to be like the A's from 20 years ago. How many banners did they raise, buddy? How many rings did they get?
Just as much as the Jets.
So, like, enough is enough already. Like, you're in Tampa. Half the league is from that area. You know, the Southeast United States or the Caribbean islands. Yeah. Like, you can't get a free agent? Come on. I don't understand how anybody born within a stone's throw of the state of Georgia can play for the Braves for 25 cents. And the Tampa Bay Rays have literally never had a marquee free agent since freaking Johnny Damon. Dog.
Johnny Damon.
What are we doing? Yeah, he went there 2010. They got Hideki Matsui at the end of his career, too. That was a tough watch.
That says a lot.
Godzilla t-shirt. Matsui's my favorite ever, but
I love Godzilla.
Gosh,
that says a lot though about Johnny Damon. Man, that's like way back. That's like we're in elementary school, Dennis.
Yeah, am I wrong? Literally, am I wrong though? Who have they had? Can you think of one? And I understand DeFranco. They spent money on him, and he got caught up with legal troubles. And we'll get to the Rangers in a bit, but it's every year. Every freaking year.
Yeah.
I can't understand this, man. I cannot understand this. I'm not saying they got to do with the Mets or the Padres. Clearly, it didn't work out for them. And just try to buy a ring. But, like, at some point, dude, you make money hand over fist with the competitive balance tax that gets paid off from teams like the Mets, Padres, Yankees, because they go over the limit. Like, you make money hand over fist with that.
Right.
Like, are you spending any of it? Any of it? Like, could you imagine if they went – could you imagine? Like, dog, I've been saying this for years. As a New York Yankees fan, if the Rays just went all in on one free agency, Brandon, they'd put the fear of God in me.
Tampa Bay?
They'd put the – yes, bro. See what they're doing with spare parts? You see what they're doing with spare parts?
Do they not have the payroll?
If they bought the Lego set and they didn't try making it on their own, dude, forget it.
Do they not have, like, the most of They have one of the lowest payrolls, obviously, right?
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
If I don't understand it. Look at the Astros, who've dominated the American League for the past since 2017. They
Yeah.
have stars. Look what the Phillies did. Look what the Dodgers. Oh my gosh. That's what the Dodgers do. They build up young talent, they
Mm.
hold on to them, and they go out and they get stars.
Well, it starts up
I
from,
don't understand it, man. I don't get it.
it starts
Listen,
up really from ownership and not, I mean,
it's crazy, bro.
because I mean, hey, I mean, if your owner is willing to spend the amount of money it is to win, they're going to spend it. That's why you see Steve Cohen and all the Yankees and the Padres. They spent the money they did. Obviously, like I said, it didn't work out, but maybe the Yankees and the Mets and the Padres, they didn't have as much young pieces as maybe Tampa Bay would have had to build up their team. Now imagine if, like you said, you would have, imagine if they were able to build the whole Lego set, instead of making it half complete. Who knows what would have happened? But yeah. But all right. Anything else you want before we move on to the next team?
Um, no, we gotta talk about the Rangers. Rangers, handle your business, huh? Put a beating on them. Everybody's talking about they don't have a bullpen. They don't have a bullpen. Forget the bullpen. We don't need that. We'll just mash, bro. They showed up to Tampa Bay, got festive October, did the monster mash, bro.
Yeah.
7 runs in one game. And of course, we talked about the young studs getting it done. Young and Carter showing up big out of that 8 and 9 spot. And nowadays everybody kind of dumps on the old school way of managing and whatnot. I just got to give some props to Bruce Bochy. He's been around the league forever. He's going to be a surefire Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
3 World Series rings, 4 pennants. I mean, the guy's a beast.
Where did he win
First
his
year with
first
the
pennant?
First year with the Texas Rangers. I mean, come on, the guy's been around forever.
Where
But
did he win his first pennant? Was it with the
I think
was it
it was actually with the Padres in the '90s. It looks like.
really? Wow. So
Yeah.
he's been around for a while.
Yeah, he in 1998 against the Yankees. I had no idea that he was with the Padres at that time. I don't know why I
Yeah.
always thought that was Jim Leland. Goes to show what I know. Um, I mean, I just want to give credit to him because if you look at it, a lot of people are against that kind of old school mentality. Listen, the guy's won 2,093 games in his career for a reason.
Do you know he
And
was born in France?
I did.
It's
Well, I
crazy.
didn't know that before 5 minutes ago, but I did see that
Oui, oui.
as a baseball reference. But sure. Um, and their lineup, I liked it. I liked it a lot because you have Marcus Semien, a righty, left-handed hitter Corey Seager. You bring in Robbie Grossman, a switch-hitting DH, hits a little better from the right side, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have another righty, Adolis Garcia. But what you're doing by kind of playing around with that, and Grossman didn't hit from the third spot almost all year, only a couple of games. What you do with that is you break up those lanes for when they, the matchups, when they bring in relievers and whatnot. Don't forget, there's that 3 batter minimum that still carries over into the postseason. So relievers have to face a minimum of 3 batters.
Mm.
You come in, unless, of course, they finish an inning. In that case, all bets are off. So if you get one in out to end an inning, they're not obligated to go back. What you do with that, though, is you break up those kinds of lanes and whatnot, and you force the other team, the other manager, to make moves. And if you have to get into a chess match with a dude whose first World Series appearance was in 1998, when you got Steve Finley, Tony Gwynn,
Yeah, I
Trevor
was gonna say
Hoffman in the pen,
yeah.
bro, and then, of course, the odd, or I guess the even San Francisco Giants, 2010, 12, 14. Respect, man. I like their team a lot. The bullpen I'm not too crazy on, but Jordan Montgomery, bro. Did you see that play he made, that diving play?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So if you get that kind of effort, and you got Leclerc, he pitched well both games. He pitched well. Maybe you don't have to go to Aroldis Chapman, who we know his postseason woes. Lord knows I do. You know, like you
Yeah.
don't have to go to that shallow bullpen, which was the worst in major leagues for most of the season. You can kind of hide them a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The Orioles are no slouch. We'll get to that DS preview later on. We're going to knock out the wild card games first before we get to that. But uh, man, tipping the cap.
Tip of the cap.
So unless, of course, you have anything else about the Rangers, I really like their lineup, man. Corey Seager, Marcus Semien. Again, stars. Marcus Semien. They spent almost $500 million between Seager and Semien for a reason.
Yeah,
Stars.
that's what I'm
They
saying.
didn't have DeGrom and Scherzer. Stars. You need those kinds of dudes, man.
Yeah.
So if you have any other thoughts or not, I'm ready to move on.
So far, so good.
Okay. All right. Got everything I wanted to do. All right. So the Twins swept the Blue Jays in downtown Minneapolis at Target Field, outscoring the Bluebirds 5-1 in the mini series. And if you don't know or didn't know who Royce Lewis was before this, you should know now. He hit 2 homers in game 1 and was responsible for all 3 runs being scored. Lewis, the first overall pick in the 2017 draft, was the first Twin to hit 2 homers in one postseason game since Gary Gaetti did it in the 1987 ALCS. The 24-year-old DH has been the spark plug for this Twins offense and their best player over the last month of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Sonny Gray, excellent
Mhm.
performance.
Yeah.
The pickoff on Vladdy Guerrero Jr., the final nail in the coffin. Man, really, just a good game. Carlos Correa showed that he's still one of the best postseason performers the league has ever seen, as much as I hate saying that. And then, of course, the Twins finally have that back end done. The back end of the bullpen. They finally have a guy. Johan Duran shows up, 2 innings pitched, no earned runs. Blister on the finger, forget it. Strike
Forget
out
it.
the side. What a beast. What a
Mm.
beast. Your thoughts on this series?
Well, I know Vlad Guerrero. He said he was giving us the movie. Where is it? I'm still waiting outside AMC. It's in Levittown. You know, waiting for it to drop because I know I saw something where
It's a horror movie. It's a disaster movie.
You sure not a comedy? Could be comedy. I mean, I
Comedy
don't know
of
if it's better than
errors.
something. I don't know if it's better than something about Mary, but or
Comedy
or
based
super
around
bad.
something else.
Or built much a million other comedy movies. But like I said, this ain't IMB. This is
DP.
this is Battin and Chattin. Because I remember right. Am I correct? Didn't he say something last year? This was the trailer. Next year is the movie.
I
And
think it was 2 years ago now. I
right,
honestly don't know. But
or it could be a TV show. Maybe it's a TV show. Leading. But overall, my thoughts. I mean, just crazy. I like to see what because I know Vlad Guerrero is a free agent, right?
I don't think he is.
Or no?
Is he? Vlad Guerrero. That's news to me.
Let's see. Free.
I mean, I know that. The
Let's see.
contract.
No, he won't be a free agent until. Okay, no, I was wrong on that. My apologies to the folks out there. He won't be a free agent until after the 2025 season because he has 2 more arbitration eligible years before he can hit the open market. So I was wrong on that. But yeah, like I said, just got the young talent either way, and so it sucks for the Blue Jays, but good for the Twins because they ended the drought. For a very long time. That was 1990.
Oh,
Or that was the game, right?
can you repeat that? You kind of broke up for a second.
So, happy for the Twins because I know they broke a streak that was going on for a long time. It was 19 years, right? They lost a game, or they were losing playoff games, or they couldn't win a series.
They hadn't won a game
Right.
in 19 years. They haven't won a series in 22 when they
Wow.
got to the 2002 ALCS after beating the Moneyball A's. Common theme here. I don't know. In the ALDS, and then they went on to the ALCS to face the Angels, who went on to win the World Series over the Barry Bonds, Jeff Kent Giants. So, hey, man, good for them.
Yeah, good for them. So, very good for them. I know Gene Larkin would say otherwise too. I know he would agree.
Mm-hmm.
not otherwise. Like he would agree with us.
Yeah.
Just good for the win. Good for the Minneapolis, especially everybody at Target Field. I heard that when the playoffs are there, it's exciting. I know. I think Gene alluded that to us too. So I think it was cool that we had him on because obviously since the Twins are on, they won the Central and now they're moving on to the DS. It's interesting to see how they're gonna do in the series. And now they face off against the wow, okay. They face off against the Astros. So that's gonna be really interesting.
We'll
But
preview that in a bit, but they did win the
those
season series.
They did. So those are just my thoughts. Dennis, what do you think?
First and foremost, you want to talk about, you said it gets loud at Target Field. It got so loud that the second base runners couldn't hear the third base coach, leading to that iconic Sonny Gray Carlos Correa pickoff on Vlad Guerrero Jr. Unbelievable to end the sixth inning. Runner at second and third. In steps Bo Bichette. He's battling, full count, fouling balls off, battling. Vlad Guerrero, sleep at the wheel, picked off. So, I mean, there's countless breakdowns of this and how it worked. And, two savvy veterans, Correa and Gray. And they made a little magic happen on there.
There you go.
Wow. To end the inning. And that was it. That was when that happened. I was watching the game at work. When that happened, it was over. I knew the game was over. When that happened. You can't come back from that.
No.
And dude, the place was rocking. Target Field was rocking.
Yeah.
So hey man, good for them. They haven't won a playoff game in years, and to see the playoff game live for that crowd, good for them, man. You want to talk about tortured fan base? It's what the Viking fans have had to go through, what the Timberwolves fans have had to go through. Yikes. So good for them, man. Really. And I guess we'll talk about the losing locker room too. Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Again, it's kind of the same thing with the Rays. They're showing up every year, and every year
not doing anything.
They're getting best. A joke I saw online. This is messed up. A joke I saw online, which I found hilarious, was the Blue Jays aren't even a wild card team anymore. Just a draw two, because they got swept in 2 games 2 years in a row. I think that's hilarious. But that's I guess neither here nor there. Big story out of this one: the decision to pull Jose Barrios in Game 2, who was dealing 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, a 47 pitch count with 32 strikes. Bringing in the left-handed pitcher Yusei Kikuchi, who went 1.2, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no strikeouts, and I think a walk or 2. Twins only scored 2 runs on that. You can sit here and say that when they made that decision, that when Schneider, their manager, made that decision, it didn't really backfire. Bases loaded. You only had 2 runs score on that. Okay. But, I mean, as much as I don't know. I don't know. I feel weird about it. I'm old. Maybe I'm old school. Maybe I don't know. I just 47 pitches.
Why did you take it out so early?
The matchups, I guess. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
I don't
clear,
understand it. He was dealing. And not only that, this is what you don't want. You don't want Whit Merrifield, who's one of the guys on your team, to say in the post-game interview that that's what's wrong with baseball nowadays, more or less, kind of surmising what he said. Because that's what's wrong with baseball nowadays, too much managing from the front office and not enough feel for the game. Right. That's not what you want to hear, because that means the manager didn't lose the locker room. The whole organization has lost the locker room.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, I mean, I think that sucks. Good. How the manager can get the blame for that instead of the organization. That's not right.
I agree. and he's going to get fired, and it's not going to be good. This is always what happens. He's not Kevin Cash, who's got a couple of Manager of the Year awards when he pulled Blake Snell. And just looking online, and listen, Toronto sports fans could be a little edgy, we'll say. But looking online, they're ready to pack his bags themselves, and they have been all year. So that Toronto sports media can be ruthless as New York or Boston.
Really? I was going to say.
Oh, their reputation.
Or Los Angeles.
Now, the Maple Leafs are the ones who get it the most, but you hear stories that they are brutal. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with him? Once again, congratulations to the Twins. I mean, it looked like Johan Duran was going to be pulled from the game. He was bleeding from his finger. I don't know if it was a blister or a cut or a broken nail, whatever the case may be. He says, no blood, no problem. Gives up one hit and then 3 strikeouts.
Okay.
Dude, what a beast. What a beast. And this is something the Twins haven't had. You know, when they were in that mid-2010s, late 2010s, the La Bamba squad, Nelson Cruz, Miguel Sano, Max Kepler, who's still on the team now, Byron Buxton, who's still on the team, although was not on the roster for the wild card round, coming back from an injury. They didn't really have that guy in the pen, and now they do. They really haven't had too many guys ever, aside from Joe Nathan. So it's who went to Stony Brook around.
Okay.
We'll see, man. We'll really see. And not just him, Emilio Pagan is pretty good. You obviously have the starters, Joe Ryan, Sonny Gray, Bailey Ober. I'm very curious to see how this team does because they have a lot of potential. They got World Series potential. Maybe not to win the whole thing, but certainly to get there. And we'll get to them and the Astros in a bit. Buddy, if you don't have anything else on this round of games, I'm ready to move on to Brewers D-backs.
I think I'm ready for the Brewers D-backs. That should be really exciting to talk about.
All right, and this one, a battle of former Mets. Tommy Pham, Mark Canha going at it with Josh Donaldson, the old Yankee. Yeah, in the mix there. So a couple of guys you and I are familiar with. The Diamondbacks win game 1, 6-3, with some excellent defense by the 38-year-old veteran Evan Longoria, getting them their third baseman, who's played in a World Series 2008 with the Rays. And they win that one 6-3. Game 2, they just ripped the heart right out. 5-2. They win. Yet another lackluster offensive performance from the Brewers in a lot of these playoff series, man. The Brewers took a 2-0 lead in the first, scoring 2 on Zach Gallen, the ace of the Diamondbacks. And they just couldn't get anything going here. So, yeah, the first one, Yelich led off with a single, led the game off. Well, the bottom half of the first off. Then Contreras struck out. Yelich stole second. You had the momentum. Carlos Santana walks. Runners at second and first. Mark Canha single to left. Bases loaded. Here comes Frelick. Sacrifice fly to right. Scoring Yelich. Santana to third. Canha to second. And then Adames singles to center. Santana scores. You have all the momentum. And here's my guy, Josh Donaldson. Ground out, end the inning. So, all right, 2-0 lead. You have an early 2-0 lead, and they never got it back. And that was with Freddie Peralta, 1-2-3 inning in the top of the second. Settling down, striking out Gabriel Moreno, who's been an excellent offensive catcher as of late, and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Bottom of the second, and they couldn't get anything going. Zach Gallen settles down, strikes out Terang. Michael A. Taylor. No, it's not Michael A. Taylor. Michael A. Taylor? I forget which team he's on.
Yeah, I think it's Michael A. Taylor.
Okay. No, it wasn't. It was Tyrone Taylor.
Okay, Tyrone Taylor. But I know what you're thinking of.
Yeah. I don't know who he's on now. but yeah, whatever. So I mean, like they had the momentum, they lost it. It slipped through their fingers, and yeah, I'm Diamondbacks. I didn't see this coming. I got to be familiar. Got to be honest, not too familiar with the Diamondbacks game. Don't really follow them too much.
Okay.
Buddy, you got anything for me on this one?
Good for the Brewers. I mean, well, no, not good for them, but I mean, I think good for them in a sense where they traded for Marcano. It's really only one of the only good things you could look at. People saying that it was probably one of the best trade deadline acquisitions they've had since CC Sabathia.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. He was great. I mean, I was sad when they traded. When the Mets traded him away. I thought, um, Diamondbacks are a team that are in the hunt for a long time. Whether it's when they were fighting for the playoffs. So see them advance for the AL, NLDS. Good for them. Just another dominated team. So it should be interesting how they fare against the Dodgers.
Yep.
That's who they play.
Um,
Yes, Dodgers. Yep.
a big story out of this one. You have a bullpen game in game one for the Diamondbacks because they have to slide Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly down. Brewers are sending out Corbin Burns, a top 5 starting pitcher in the league. Can't get out of the 5th inning. I mean, how do you have the momentum? If you're the Brewers, how do you have momentum in game 2? Your back is up against the wall. Your ace is done. He's used and was used up. Bad. 4 innings pitched, 2 walks, 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, 4 earned runs. All right, so only 2 walks and 5 hits, but the 4 earned runs.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the Diamondbacks use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pitchers. From Brandon Fat to Joe Mantiply, who got the win. Joe Mantiply is only 32?
I guess
I could
so.
have sworn that dude was 40. I swear. I thought this guy's been in the league forever. Miguel Castro, hey, my guy. Then Ryan Nelson, and then Ryan Thompson. A couple of Ryans on here, huh? Kevin Ginkel, who pitched in both games, as did the closer Paul Sewald, who they got at the trade deadline from the Seattle Mariners, the 33-year-old Las Vegas native. Had a nice little game, 2 strikeouts in the second game, and in game 1, 1 strikeout in a 1-2-3 inning. So they settled down, man. They settled down, took game 1, set the tone. If you guys want to beat us, you're going to have to score some runs.
Yeah.
That Brewers offense has always kind of been suspect. And
a little
they,
sus.
Yeah, a little sussy. And they set the tone. And once again, dude, did you see some of those plays Evan Longoria was making? The one when he got Yelich at second. The one when he got Yelich at second. He misplays the ball. He can't go to first. And he turns around. He sees Yelich is off the bag and just flips it. Excellent veteran move. Evan Longoria, dude. I remember when he was like a young gun in the league.
Yeah.
And now the savvy veteran. That's the kind of guy you want on your team.
Yeah.
The kind of guy's been there, done that, played in big games, been in big moments. Obviously, we've talked about it a couple of times on this show. That 2011 home run to send them into the,
Yeah. Oh, how can I forget about that?
Yeah, right over the Crawford box at Tropicana Field against the Yankees. I mean, once again, 08 World Series. He's been in big moments. You have a veteran on your team that's been that way. So people that say, well, the Diamondbacks are a young team, Corbin Carroll, some of the other guys, young guys, Zach Gallen may not have been in those moments before, but the leader of your team, Evan Longoria, has.
Mm.
And for him to be showing up and balling out, that's what you need.
Yeah. All right.
So.
Anything else on those 2 teams?
No. The game was kind of at a weird time, so I'm going to be honest. I don't watch too much of this series.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie to you. This series, unfortunately, I did watch.
I was watching. Yeah, I was watching some of it too. Man,
Eesh.
I feel like I know who team she's talking about.
Well, they're the only ones left. So let's rip the Band-Aid off. The Phillies humiliate the Marlins.
Man,
There's
did the
nothing good.
Phillies
There's
Phillies
nothing good out of
literally
this.
were the
This is
definition of
pathetic.
showing up.
Dog. 4-1 game one. Not too bad. And then what? Did the Phillies won 7-1 in game two? It felt like
Yeah.
100-1. I mean, first and foremost, 100% capacity. The capacity was at 42,000, at 45,000 standing room only.
Yeah. My
At
God.
Citizens Bank Park. I've seen the outside of it, never the inside. Looks nice. Listen, all right, let's just get to it. This is what you bring these guys in for. Nick Castellanos and RBI. Bryson Stott. What a series for him. Grand Salami. The first
Yeah.
Grand Salami since Shane Victorino did it in the
Back in
postseason.
2008.
Yeah.
When when he hit that grand slam, that you knew that place was rocking. I mean, you want to talk about full capacity? It felt, that home run, that grand slam literally set the tone for the Phillies in terms of, who they are, and hopefully they keep showing it.
And Miami had won the regular season series 7-6. And this was kind of one of the teams that, looking online, the Phillies were a little nervous about because of that. They hadn't hit Braxton Garrett or Luzardo well, Jesus Luzardo well during the regular season. So they were nervous. And dude, they just ate their lunch. They just showed up and ate their lunch. That's what happened. A couple of things that stood out to me as somebody who's rooting for the Marlins. I wasn't crazy about the defense. Some really bad at bats. Some really, really, really bad at bats.
I know you were knocking Jazz Chisholm before.
Yeah, before the show started, Jazz Chisholm had some really, really, really bad at bats. And it's a young team, and maybe they're a little ahead of schedule. Okay, we'll look past it. But they were not competitive.
I agree.
There was never really a feeling or anything like that this was a team. And people point to the negative run differential. They're some of the highest scoring teams in, inning 7 on in the league. So to me, that doesn't really mean much. They're a clutch team. If you look at it on paper, how they played this season, that 7, 8, 9 innings, they scored the most runs as a team. They scored their most runs in the 8th inning, more than any other inning. They're a clutch team, and it never came.
Yeah.
Waiting for a day that never comes, and that's what happened with them. It just, once again, it's kind of a running theme here. You kind of need some stars. I'm not trying to be that guy, and I'm sure these guys are all nice guys, but where do you have John Birdie on shortstops in Major League Baseball with all the offensive superpowers at that position in current Major League Baseball? Where do you have John Birdie? And I get it. He's kind of like a throwback Ozzie Smith, Jose, Omar Vizquel type, that he's like a speedster who's a good defender and whatnot. So maybe that's a little unfair, but Brian De La Cruz, where do you have him? You know what I mean?
Right.
Jesus Sanchez, where do you have these guys? And listen, they're not bad players, but a lot of their stats are league average.
Right.
So, it's just, if they want to really run with the big dogs, and they have the pitching to do so, their bullpen is actually really good. You have Arias, who hit 356, won his second consecutive batting title, one in the American League, one in the National League. I think he might be the first player to ever do that in both leagues, back to back. Other players have won. LeMahieu had one in each league. Frank Robinson had one in each league. But I think Arias might be the first to do it consecutively.
Okay.
You have guys, Jazz Chisholm. I'm not trying to kill Jazz Chisholm too much. Young players got to learn this stuff, right? There's a reason why it's a series. You learn. But they were not competitive.
Mm.
So let's talk about the Phillies. They dominated. Their lineup dominated. I'll be the first to say it because I wrote about it all year, and I'm not going to shy away from it now. I criticized the heck out of Aaron Nola all season long. He's been wildly inconsistent, and he just shows up and proves me wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. If you're inconsistent in the regular season, but only give up 4 base runners in the playoffs, what can I say? 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, no earned runs. Braxton Garrett, who's one of the aces of the Marlins, because they have that kind of talent where they could have multiple aces on any other team. 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. I don't know why they didn't let him go longer. It wasn't exactly dealing, but once again, only 2 earned runs. Are we going to let Schumacher manage his team or what? I don't really know what happened there.
Yeah, no, I can tell you.
But I'll try to find out the play-by-play. But all right. So it was kind of slipping away from him. Towards the end there. He had 2 hits, but they bring in David Robertson in the 4th freaking inning.
Fourth inning. That's interesting.
You think?
That's not what they traded him for.
I understand the days of Goose Gossage, or even guys that we grew up with, K-Rod, Mariano Rivera, Jonathan Papelbon, Joe Nathan, Billy Wagner. Those kinds of closers, that's a bygone thing of 3 innings or 2 innings or something. In 7, 8, 9, that's what you're looking at. High leverage and stuff like that. You have Realmuto, Castellanos, Stott, and then Christian Pache. And Realmuto hit a leadoff homer in that inning off of David Robertson. I don't know. I don't know. Listen, and we were talking with Gene Larkin 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And obviously Jack Moore is in that game. He pitches 10 innings. Listen, I'm not saying it's got to be like that. But can we let these guys pitch?
Mm.
If you're in a jam, get out of the jam. If you're not in the jam, get out of the jam. I don't know what I just said there. But listen, show up, pitch, do your thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's crazy that you have Braxton Garrett on your team for a reason, man. Like, he's good. He's a bucket getter. I don't know. I thought the series was weird. And of course, obviously, we talked about the Bryson Stott Grand Slam. Citizens Bank Park goes nuclear when that happens in the 6th inning. Bryson Stott steps up. Grand salami off of Nardi. Was it Aaron Nardi, probably? There's a lot of Aarons in sports now. You notice that? That's kind of a popular name now.
Rogers.
Andrew Nardi, the lefty. Strange. I don't know. Strange game. But yeah, I'll save you guys. 7 hits by the Phillies, 7 runs. Jeez. Run, 5 hits. Luis Arias was playing hobbled. There was a couple balls I thought he could have gotten to that he didn't. Whatever. He's not a great defenseman to begin with. Whatever. This was a very rough watch. Game 1 kind of felt like they could take it late, but it just never happened. Josh Bell played very well in late innings, both games. Josh Bell had a very good series for the Marlins.
He did have a very good series. Whenever I was watching, he was on base. Even at the very last inning.
Yeah. He really tried to they got something there. I like him. I like Josh Bell. Has been in the league for almost 10 years. Wow, what a shocker. But
yeah, he's been around for a long time.
Exactly the first on that bandwagon. I'm done with this series if you're done with this series.
I believe so. I think I'm excited to talk about the games next coming up soon.
So get
Um,
excited. Talk to
and,
me about
and
Rangers Orioles.
I'd like to see how a young team like the Orioles goes up against a team like the Rangers, who, like I said, they have a lot of riding on this team. They spent focused a lot on it this off season, past off season. They feel like they got the chip on the shoulder because now a lot of the players that they've acquired that are injured, whether it's DeGrom and Scherzer, really got to stop going for Mets pitching. And now the Orioles, young team, I think they have a lot of energy, a lot of momentum. Especially winning the AL East for the first time since 2014. So, and especially winning 100 games. I know we know one fan, a fantasy baseball league that's from Baltimore. His name is Jordan. So Baltimore, I think they're riding really high, and I expect them to make it to the ALCS. Be a shocker, but we'll see. What do you think of that series, real quick, Dennis?
Well, I'm not expecting them to get to the ALCS.
Really?
Expecting them to get to the World Series, bro.
Oh wow!
I said it a couple weeks ago. I think they're going to win the whole dang thing.
You got me
6
there.
games against the Phillies. I'm in the middle now. I honestly think the Phillies could win the World Series.
But it's possible, It's
that lineup is terrifying. We'll get to them in the Braves in a bit, but the Orioles, I like them. I really like that lineup. I will say there's not going to be a Felix Bautista. He's hurt. Tommy John surgery, which was kind of everybody expected. Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, we know their guys. Austin Hayes, and I mean they got a decent pitching staff too. The Orioles do, and I think it's kind of forgotten about because we think of a lot of their star players as being the position players,
right.
But let's just go down some of the names here. I mean, Kyle Bradish has had a pretty good season for them. Jack Flaherty, veteran, been around for a while, as is Kyle Gibson, Cole Irvin, Dean Kramer. Oh my God, he's a Yankee fan. Dean Kramer's destroyed us every time he's played us. John Means. John Means is back. John Means. People forget this was supposed to be the face of their team before he got destroyed with injuries for 3 seasons in a row.
John
Comes
Means,
back
damn.
this year, 2.66 ERA. John Means comes back, the big lefty. Grayson Rodriguez. They have Tyler Wells, very good pitcher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starting pitchers on their roster. Maybe more than that. I don't know if this is updated for the postseason yet, but we'll see. You have James McCann, veteran. Not great, but okay. Adley Rutschman, of course, the switch hitting catcher, their young star, 25 years old, from Portland.
Yeah.
And then you have Adam Frazier, veteran. Gunnar Henderson, another young player, 22 years old. Jorge Mateo, the shortstop, 28 years old. Ryan Mountcastle, first baseman. And DH, 26 years old, righty. The lefty, Ryan O'Hearn, 30 years old. Roman Urias, third baseman, right-handed hitter. Joey Ortiz, the second baseman. Jordan Westberg, who was one of the higher-rated prospects in the league, second base. Austin Hayes, Aaron Hicks, been in a lot of big games, for better or worse. Cedric Mullins, 29 years old, left-handed hit. Bro, they got a really, really good roster. Really good roster. Where's the hole? Where's the problem? Okay, so they don't have Felix Bautista anymore. They still got Yenny Yarkano, who was an all-star.
Yeah.
And it had a 2.11 ERA in the season. Shintaro Fujinami is his ERA is trash, but that's because the Oakland A's just have no idea what they're doing. And they would use him as an opener. It seemed like every single game. And if he scored a run, like he just had a bad outing, there's screw this guy. So, like his ERA is awful, but towards the end of the season, he was he heated up for the Orioles. They traded. I don't even think they traded for him. I think they got him off waivers. Really good roster, man.
Yeah.
And as are the Rangers, bro. We said it. They got young guys too. It's not just the Orioles. people are saying, "Oh, the young Orioles, the Rangers, they're showing up." They're like, "Yo, we got some Evan Carter, Josh Jung, Jonah Heim. We got our own switch hitting catcher, bro.
Yeah.
Arguably the two best catchers in the American League in this one."
Okay.
And it as of now, it doesn't seem Max Scherzer's going to be on the ALDS roster. Doesn't seem likely. He did throw a bullpen session yesterday or 2 days ago. I think it was yesterday. And he pitched well. And he said he felt good. But it seems like all reports I read are saying that he's not going to be on the ALDS roster. They'll save him likely for the ALCS. Or if there's setbacks and whatnot, they're not confident in him, World Series. I don't know if they're going to use him out of the pen or what, but that is something to watch for. Watch the news headlines for. I don't know, but buddy, who do you got in this one? Rangers' hottest team coming into this thing, arguably other than the Phillies. Who do you got in this one?
In Rangers Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
I said it before. I said I got Orioles. I got Orioles over the Rangers.
Okay.
That's my
All right.
I'm sticking to it. Now,
Brandon Hyde just throwing this out. The first manager since Casey freaking Stengel
really,
to manage a team that had 100 losses and 100 wins. Like the same team, the same tenure.
It's pretty remarkable.
It is remarkable.
Casey Stengler, former Yankee manager, and first ever Mets manager.
Managed the whole freaking world.
Yeah.
Seriously. All right. What's next? Astros Twins. Oh, this is gonna be a fun one, buddy. Buddy, you want to talk to me about this one?
This is interesting. I wonder how Josh would feel about this. It sucks we can't get him on because I know he would have loved to have gone off about this right now. Very interesting series. Like I said, Twins are coming hot off the sweep of the Blue Jays in the wild card round. Astros, even though they didn't have, they still had a powerful season, but not as powerful as last year. And now they got former Mets pitcher Verlander on the mound, even though he was an Astro, and so it's crazy to think how he was he signed back ended up back with the organization in a way. So I like to see how Houston plays. It's going to be interesting atmosphere. I wonder if Josh is going to be there. I should text him, ask him about that. I know he's going to enjoy that. And,
tickets are as low as $44.
What?
Tickets are as low as $44. Want to go?
You're kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
No shot. I got to text Josh about that.
I'm kidding about going because
I know that. I know. I mean,
$44
one day, but I don't know about Houston. Maybe for Mets.
With vivid seats per the ESPN website. So I don't know how accurate that is on a SeatGeek or a StubHub or what I like to use, which is I like to use it. I forget the name of it. TickPick.
Right.
That's it. That's what I use a lot. The injury report for this one: Byron Buxton is still on the 10-day IL as of October 3rd. Carlos Correa was listed as day-to-day after getting hit by a pitch in Game 2 of the Blue Jays series. I forgot who they played already. Relief pitcher Cody Lawyerson out. Elliot Soto, the shortstop, out. Trevor Larnack or Lamack? I can't see the font on here. Day-to-day, he's a left fielder. For the Houston Astros, Luis Garcia, starting pitcher on the 60-day IL. So, yeah, there's that. I think McCullers is out too. So, Astros, this is not the usual suspects. It is, listen, this is going to be Framber Valdez, Justin Verlander, and we'll see what we can do. This, you know what I mean? Like, this is not the Garrett Cole, Zach Greinke, Justin Verlander, McCullers, the power pitchers. You're not going to see that. A lot of these guys had decent seasons. JP France was pretty good. Hunter Brown was pretty good. They had some dudes that were okay. Jose Urquidy had a bad season. They were not. They got a lot less than they expected from him. Christian Javier was kind of spotty at times as well. Obviously, Framber Valdez threw a no-hitter. Justin Verlander, very good. And Verlander is starting game 1, Valdez in game 2. So the Killer V's on the mound for the Astros. I don't know if anybody else has said that, but I think I just made a new phrase, which I love. They got this young catcher, Yenier Diaz, who's been very good for them. A lot of controversy in the baseball world of Dusty Baker, the manager, continuing to start Martin Maldonado over him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's how it's going to play in the postseason. We'll see. Now their lineup, this is the usual suspects here. No Carlos Correa anymore, but Jose Abreu, 36 years old, really good player for the White Sox for a long time. And the first half of the season was not good for him, but the second half he really heated up. Jose Altuve, of course. Alex Bregman, of course. Jordan is back. The designated hitter at 36 years old. Unbelievable. The lefty, Michael Brantley, back in action. Kyle Tucker, Chas McCormick. They got dudes in that lineup.
Yeah.
They got dudes in that lineup. And they're healthy. Because Brantley missed a lot, basically the whole season. Altuve missed a chunk of time. Jordan missed a chunk of time, but now they're back. And better than ever. Maybe. Who knows?
Who do you got winning in this series?
Twins.
Really? Okay.
I like the Twins in this one, dude.
Okay.
And it's for the reason I kind of just laid out. Not the usual suspects starting the games for the Astros. And we're seeing, dude, we're seeing, I said, dude, like a million times tonight. I'm tired. My friend, the Twins, they can mash. We saw them really mash. And that's not true. They scored 5 runs in 2 games. Oh, pretty good. Pretty good.
I think that's decent.
Pretty decent. Good at-bats. Rocco Baldelli, not afraid to go to that bench, pinch hit, kind of get a little freaky with it, pinch run, pinch hit. Excellent defensive team the Minnesota Twins are. Excellent defensive team. And not only that, first 2 games are in Houston, buddy. The second 2 games, that doesn't make sense. Games 3 and 4 are in Minnesota. That place is going to be berserk, and it's cold in Minnesota this time of year. Shocking,
yes.
I know. They are, dude. Those fans coming off of the first series win since 2002.
Yeah.
They're going to be bananas. I had to charge up. The banana. I had to charge up the bananas.
There you go.
BANNA. That was too much. I'm not Gwen Stefani. I tried. But listen, really good team. Both really good teams. So I got Twins. Buddy, who you got?
I don't know. It sucks. I mean, the Twins do got a lot of talent. They definitely can compete with the Astros, who have been, taking the throne in the AL, the American League for a long time. Maybe I'm with you. I'm on the Minnesota train. Hop on, let me hop on. I say they have the I think they could definitely have the talent to dethrone Houston. So I'm all for it.
Okay. There's plenty of room for you on the Twins bandwagon.
All right,
Moving on, we have the battle of the NL East. Braves, Phillies. Braves kind of destroyed the Phillies in the regular season.
Phillies. I got Phillies.
Me too.
The Braves are going to put up a good fight, but I mean, I don't know.
I'm always regardless of the sport, I'm always sketched out by the team that just flies right through the regular season. So with the Sacramento Kings this past year, although the Nuggets were the 1 seed, so whatever. but discount that. We've seen it before. The Bruins, the Warriors, a lot of these teams, the 0-1 Mariners, that just steamrolled through the regular season. I just don't trust them. It feels like something always goes wrong. I don't know. And the Phillies are coming in, guns a blazing. Guns a blazing. They're
Oh
like
yeah, no, they're
slappy
ready
contact
to.
hitter, like fun. Watch out, this weapon, this kind of tool that they can use. Bryson Stott hit a freaking grand slam. Like, they got guys. That's Bryson Stott. Not Kyle Schwarber, not Nick Castellanos, not Bryce
Bryson
Harper,
Stott.
not JT Realmuto, Bryson Stott. That's not a knock on Bryson Stott. That's just to highlight they have all the household names and they got dudes who can do it. Christian Pache, former Brave. You don't think he's a little revved up? You guys sent me to Azkaban. You guys sent me to the Oakland A's. Gosh diggity darn. If I'm Christian Pache, I'm getting fired up. They sent him. They exiled him, buddy. They exiled Christian Pache. What did he ever do to you? Also,
Doesn't sound too good.
Phillies pitching staff not as good as they used to be. Braves pitching staff not what they used to be. Bullpen a little sketchy. Starting rotation: Spencer Strider broke John Smoltz' single season strikeout record for the Braves this season. Aside from him, a little sketchy. Bryce Elder considerably cooled off the second half of the season. Kyle Wright, pretty good. Max Fried, pretty good. Mike Soroka, since he came back from his latest Tommy John surgery, okay. The Phillies, on the other hand, Aaron Nola's on a heater. And when Aaron Nola's on a heater, he is must watch. Zach Wheeler, very good. And then you have flexibility, Michael Lorenzen, Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez. I was getting confused with the kid we went to school with. Christopher Sanchez, all those guys, those three have shown they can come out of the pen or start games throughout the regular season. So we'll see as it has Matt Strahm. So they can shorten their rotation up considerably and still have options. And by the way, they're anchored by one of the greatest closers of all time in Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah.
Former Brave. So
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see. But I got Phils, bro. And listen, obviously it's out there already. The Braves, they've been done to death. Everybody's been talking about the Braves. Braves.
I mean, the Braves are, still a great, great team. I'm not going to try to bash them as hard as I've been. I'm not going to try to. I'm not going to channel Rodney Harrison. The Braves are. I got a lot of respect for the Braves. They're a great team. I mean, the Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson. That's all I need to say. Enough. Those two players make
40 home runs each.
That's insane. Like Ronald Acuna, he's definitely going to be MVP, in my opinion. I mean, Spencer Strider,
40 home runs, 70 stolen bases.
That's amazing.
Insane.
So but the knock on them is that they can't come up clutch in the playoffs. They always seem, good thing they won the World Series when they did, because the next couple of years, I mean,
people will be talking.
Exactly. So we'll see. But for now, I got the Phillies in this.
Me too. We'll
now, up Arizona, Los Angeles. I don't know. Los Angeles, that's another team, Dennis. That's another team. That's,
I have faith in them. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. There's nobody on the Diamondbacks that's as good as either of them, let alone both of them.
Okay.
Will Smith, Chris Taylor is okay. No Justin Turner this year. Obviously, he's with the Red Sox now. But you still have Max Muncy, that funky Muncy. You have the flexibility. James Outman, Jay Hay Kid, the resurgence of Jason Hayward. Dude, they got guys.
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw. And listen, this is the part where we could pick apart the bullpen, pick apart the starting rotation with the Dodgers, and you'd be right. But I don't know, dude. They've been here before. They've been here before. You know what I mean?
I do.
They've been there before. In the World Series, deep into the playoffs every single year to the NLCS or NLDS. They always go the full 5 games or 7 games, it feels like. They're comfortable in the postseason, a lot of postseason performers. I really like the Dodgers in this series. Now, they're in the same division, so of course, got to look at the who won the regular season series between them because I forget. I don't think I wrote it down already. All right, so the team that won it, unsurprisingly, is the Dodgers. 8-5, they won this one.
Okay.
The last 3 games, the Dodgers swept them. Granted, it was in August, a lot of changes, but they outscored them 7-4, 9-1, 7-0. I don't know. Injury report for this one: Lance Lynn on bereavement from the Dodgers. Daniel Hudson on the 60-day IL. Landon Knack out. Miguel Rojas day-to-day. Chris Taylor day-to-day. Go show it, I know. For the D-backs, Jake McCarthy, Gabriel Moreno day-to-day. Jake McCarthy out. Ivan Melendez out. Scott McGow out. The probable starters are undecided for the Diamondbacks. Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers. Probably going to be Merrill Kelly, I'd guess. I got Dodgers.
I got the Dodgers too.
You do too. All right, that's it for the DSs. So we have Twins, Orioles, Phillies, Dodgers in the CSs. We'll see if we're right. Those games start Saturday from 1 o'clock. Rangers, Orioles on FS1. Twins at Astros, 4:15 on FS1. Phillies at Braves, 6 o'clock on TBS. Backs at Dodgers, 9:20 on TBS. Buddy, of course, you're a Mets fan. Biggest Mets fan I know, arguably.
Really? That says a lot.
Buck Showalter out. And now Billy Epler out. Billy Epler out with scandal.
And Buck Showalter, you said Buck Showalter too, right?
Yeah. Fired / resigned. Quit.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that's the best case. It's crazy. Yeah. I thought Billy Epler was going to stay. Everybody was saying if Buck leaves, how is Buck staying, and how's Buck leaving and Epler staying? But then who would have known Epler? They said Epler was leaving because they thought that. I mean, from what I reading, what I heard. I mean, this came out after he got fired with the injury thing. They said he wanted to have David Stearns have a clean house. He thought it was best for the organization. That's what I saw, and that's what I read upon. Now, and then maybe a couple hours later, that's where I see that he's now being investigated for tampering with the injured list. But I think it's just crazy how, now they're starting over from scratch again. And now people are saying how the Mets are dysfunctional and all that. But hey, look, they're starting over. They're going to go, we have David Stearns. We now have a baseball op who's ready to take control and, get the Mets back in the place where they want to be. It takes time. And, and I feel like people are getting on Steve Cohen already because Steve Cohen promised us like a championship within like the first 5 years when honestly that he never should have said that. He should just, be calm, relax. I just think that, I was going to say, I think it's crazy now that, I liked Buck. But had a great first year. Players loved him. Pete Alonso, they said Pete Alonso was like furious that it happened, that he was ready to go to the front office and like confront the Mets and why it happened.
I'm sure they would have cared.
Yeah. But either way, that's just, this is a business. And now I see Buck is, wanting to go out to Los Angeles. He wants to manage the Angels. We'll see about that. I guess it was better for Epler. A lot of the Mets fan base weren't a fan of Epler. A lot of people said that the reason why Vogelback was starting the games he did was because of Epler. Epler kind of forced that on Buck. So maybe it's just good that, David Stearns start to clean house so he can pick his guys, pick his GM, then pick his manager. So a lot of people are pointing to Craig Counsellor now because he's a free agent. A lot of people are pointing him to come over to the Queens.
We'll see what happens. It's weird because I saw this IL thing, and that's where it was being reported. I saw it a few different places. But you're right. It was stated. It's weird. It says sources said that that's why he resigned.
Maybe it was part of
But
it, but I don't think that was the
Epler
main
said in a
reason.
statement, "I wanted David to have a clean slate, and that meant me stepping down." Which I don't know what that does.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
confusing. This is very confusing.
I wouldn't get too confused.
Decided it in everyone's best interest to fully hand over the leadership of baseball operations. So this is stupid. So they call in a president of baseball operation. This is just from an outside looking in. So you call in a president of baseball operations, because you say that this kind of company is too big to run, or organization is too big to run with just one person, and now you're having one person run it anyway. So what the hell are we doing here? It's confusing. So that's why I'm thinking maybe it was something to do with
The injured list.
IL tampering or whatever it was. Which
Yeah.
I don't see details on it. It says a New York Post article. I didn't see the New York Post article.
But what do you think of would Craig Counsell be a fit for the Mets? I feel like it'd be great. I mean,
He'd be a great fit
fit.
because he
Yeah.
knows the style of Stearns.
I feel like it'd definitely be a new type of energy that the Mets probably haven't had maybe ever. Like when,
I wouldn't be surprised if they get Gabe Kapler.
that's another guy they said that could be an option.
I have no idea what the Giants are doing. What is
Yeah.
going on there?
Why'd they let him go? What was the story with that?
I have no idea. Brandon. I have no idea. They are an awfully ran franchise.
Really?
They really are. Oh my God. What's going on? They had the 107 win season, which kind of tricked people into thinking they were better than they were. Meanwhile, Buster Posey had another MVP caliber season. He didn't win it, but he had a great season. As did Brandon Crawford, who finished third or fourth in MVP voting. As did Brandon Belt. Their veterans showed up. And now they have no. Who's their best player? Wilmer Flores?
Michael Conforto.
Bro, I'm not kidding.
Ruff.
I'm not trying to hate. Mike Yastrzemski, their best position players. How far would they be on other rosters? Seriously,
Maybe on the Mets. You never know.
On the Yankees, I would love Mike Yastrzemski. Excellent defensive center fielder and a left-handed hitter. He always plays well at Yankee Stadium too. I would love to have him on the Yankees, but realistically, if that's your best hitter, you got a lot of problems. So I don't. You know what would make a job of managing a team better? If you have a freaking pitching rotation. That's embarrassing that you have 3 starters and that's it. And you just bullpen day 2 other times. Are you taking this seriously at all? If you're the Giants? At all. So you can scapegoat Gabe Kapler all you want. And rumor on the street is he's a little intense for certain people. What the hell are they doing? I'm confused. All right, so you don't get Aaron Judge. You don't get Carlos Correa. You didn't get anybody else? You let Rodon walk? Okay, so maybe that was a good decision. Well, look at what happened to Rodon. He got hurt 150 times. Okay, fine. You let Chris Bryant walk. Sure, the Rockies overpaid for him. You're right. But what are you doing? That's the worst sign for a team, to be in the conversation for a lot of free agents and not get one. That's a problem. So we'll see what happens. That lineup, that roster sucks. Straight up. A lot of 250 hitters and whatnot, just average, that got hot at the right time before the All-Star break. So they had a really good record. But the second half of the season, they were not good. I don't think anybody thought they were going to make the playoffs towards the end of the season. What do you want me to say? The players, they're not bad, but they're not great. They don't have – who's their guy? I could look at the Diamondbacks. I know who their guys are. I could look at the Dodgers. I could look at, I know who their guys are. Who's their guy? It's a weird lineup. And then once again, their pitching staff put together with spit and glue. Shoot. Whatever.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's interesting to see what goes on. I like David Stearns. One of the things I liked from his press conference was saying that Pete Alonso will be the Mets first baseman by next year. And I know they just said, apparently the Cubs were looking at they're trying the best to really get him. Do you think that's gonna happen? If Pete Alonso is going to be first baseman for the Mets next year?
I don't know. I don't know. Listen, you know my stance on this. I said that it was crazy that they even considered trading Pete Alonso.
I think so too. I've said it plenty of times on here.
Supposedly he's not great in the locker room. So what?
I don't believe those reports, though. I don't know.
I don't know how much I believe him either. Once again, I don't know any of the people personally involved, but yeah, I don't like I said, like those reports were Jeff McNeil, Francisco Lindor, and Pete Alonso are not good in the locker room. Well, I don't know. You tell me who you rank those players and how much they mean to your team. 1 to 3. I think it's pretty easy to get rid of Jeff McNeil. Once again, no hate. He's a contact hitter. I love contact hitters, but it's one of those like this shouldn't be that hard to me. If it was a problem, if it was a real problem, which I don't think it is.
I don't know. I think they're going to try to keep him as much as they can. You want to try to keep your grown talent players. Jeff McNeil is one of them. I would entertain it, but in all honesty, I think I would keep him as much as I can. I think it was just a bad year for him.
I think
hitting, 326, the batting title, it just wasn't his year. Like I said,
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I think they're going to bounce back, and also we got to talk about it. And listen, I killed the Rays for this. And when I said that if you have injury prone players and they get injured, whose fault is it? Same could be said about the Mets. Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, and a very old bullpen. I get it. Edwin Diaz had the fluke injury, but still, like, I don't know. I've never seen a single closer mean that much to one team than Edwin Diaz did for the Mets.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Would he have gotten you the 25 games needed to win the division? No. So like I'm a little concerned. The rest of the bullpen was god awful, but we said it was going to be god awful even if Edwin Diaz did play. So I'm concerned. That being said, David Stearns with the Brewers has always had great relievers, excellent relievers. Josh Hader, Devin Williams. So we'll see. I have a lot of faith in David Stearns. And by the way, you want to talk about good at making trades. Whew.
Yeah.
That dude, he has raked some people over the coals.
Let's see what he can be cooking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess before we head out, what do you think of Aaron Boone sticking around to be
I like it.
Okay.
I like it. It is what it is. Let me ask you something. If he was on the open market, how long do you think it takes before he gets hired? I say less than 24 hours.
Really? Okay.
This was his first year finishing below 90 wins, excluding the COVID season. Come on. And I know people will say, well, it's easy to win. It's easy to have 90 wins when you have that last year. Last year, their roster sucked. The roster was just almost as bad as this one, except Aaron Judge played last year. They still won the division.
Yeah.
So, like, at some point, well, Aaron Boone needs to go. What year is it? What year is it? Seriously.
2023.
How much does a manager actually affect baseball? I'm serious.
That's Joe Torre.
And I think that the biggest issue with baseball nowadays is the front office has too much say and not enough feel. You put these managers in position to manage. Trust them. It's like any job. Nobody likes a boss who hovers over them. If you're a boss that hovers over your employees, I'm speaking for your employee. We don't like you, okay? I'm speaking for your employee. We don't like you.
You make a good point.
So trust your employees. Trust the guy you hired. You brought in Aaron Boone. You brought in a hitting coach who's one of his best friends, Sean Casey. we'll see how it goes. And I want to see a full season of Sean Casey. DJ LeMahieu said he worked wonders for him.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
all right,
Okay.
that's basically it. I'm trying to think.
You want to wrap up the show real quick?
Sure. A little R.I.P. to Tim Wakefield and Brooks Robinson.
Yes, rest in peace. Rest in peace to Tim Wakefield, the knuckleball curve. Anything you want to say about how special was he to the game of baseball?
I mean, when you think Tim Wakefield, you think knuckleballs, you think the Red Sox, key parts of that kind of mid 2000s, late 2000s. I don't know if I'd say dynasty, but little core, that little run they had. Wasn't on the World Series roster in 2007, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't take it personally. Just a professional. And you hear what every single teammate that's played with him or against him has said nothing but good things. Won the Roberto Clemente Award for his humanitarian work. Really good reputation around the sport, and it's just a shame. Brooks Robinson, genuinely one of the best players to ever play the game. I mean, an icon. The human vacuum cleaner is what they called him. Pete Rose, who never gave respect to any of his opponents, always kind of belittled them, never showed anything, said that guy's freaking unstoppable when they played in the World Series.
And I think he had brain cancer, Tim Wakefield. So that's
yeah, it's a shame.
That's a shame. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
But good thing he was on those World Series teams. He obviously meant a lot to the 04 team, right?
Oh yeah. Dude, when they came back, I don't know who won the ALCS MVP that year, but he had a case. When he came back, because he was a knuckleballer out of the pen, he can go 3 innings, no problem. Because knuckleballers, it's different. They don't fatigue the same way. So they can they're innings eaters.
Right.
So when they came back from down 0-3, they needed it. They needed every single inning that guy gave him. 3 innings, 4 straight games, starting in game 3. And by maybe even game 7 too. Just every single game he pitched. So really important to that team. Very important. And you can argue they wouldn't have won that ALCS without him. Former first baseman who couldn't make it to the bigs as a first baseman, learned how to throw a knuckleball, became one of the most wackiest but dependable pitchers of his generation. So rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace. You want to wrap up quick?
Sure. This was a fun one. It's a fun one.
Yeah,
Playoff
I agree.
baseball, always fun.
Definitely always fun talking playoff baseball and obviously about the Mets and shouting out legends that sadly passed. Well, that's not fun, but giving respect to them,
Yeah, and I could go on and on about Brooks Robinson, one of my kind of favorite players to watch highlights of. But 80 years old, an icon, man. All right. Well, that does it for us. We would have liked to have ended on a happier note, but yeah. So be sure to check out our revamped website, www.easternobserver.com, for the latest news in the world of baseball and so much more. We thank you for joining us on another edition of Battin and Chattin. For my co-host, Brandon Natale, and the entire Blackjack Media Group team, I'm Denis Tuohy, saying so long, and we'll see you next time.